And now you're talking about having maybe 6 players on your squad. And Courtois, you keep them. Like 6 solid, keepable players. And one of them is Incognito. Take all the bias aside. Take all my Barca love aside, all my Madrid hatred aside. What is going on with this team? This team is cooked. And they go against City. They're cooked. Cooked. Real Madrid got saved today. They saved themselves, basically, from another disaster, from what was going to be another disaster, from what I was sure at that minute of the game, the 94th minute, what I was sure was going to be another disaster for Real Madrid. And they got saved last minute by a rebound off of a Valverde strike, and they win. And then they get their 3 points, and they get to cover up a little bit of the disaster, the straight-up disaster that this team is. It's really bad. 2-1, Real Madrid wins. I didn't say anything. Obviously, I don't have a video to follow it up, but I predicted that this game would end 2-1 to Real Madrid. For the record, I thought they were going to win, but towards the end of the game, 94th minute, I'm like, okay, they're going to drop points. And I was prepared to be cool with it. I was okay with the tie. Would have liked Celta to score that goal by Iago Aspas. Would have been nice because it was such a good play. And Iago, super veteran player, the number 10 of Celta, took on like 2-3 players, just left them in the dust, and almost finished cross far post. And it was unlucky. I don't think it was a save either. He just missed. But that goal didn't go in, and I thought that goal should have gone in. But I was like, okay, they're going to tie, and that's great for Barca. But Real Madrid, finally, at the end, gets that goal, and they win the game. But, man, let me tell you, with the injuries that this team has, and with the lack of identity, playing identity, right? Because this Real Madrid team, whether people like it or not, has an identity, and it's a very negative identity. It's an identity of arrogance. It's an identity of cockiness, of the players only kind of thinking about themselves and not really about the club that they represent. And then also the identity that they don't have really players that, I don't know how to explain this team, man. They don't have players that can make this team play. It's a bunch of individualities. Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, Bellingham, when they're there, obviously. Now, there's a lot of things that have happened this week in Real Madrid, which we haven't talked about. And it's that, first of all, Mbappe has been playing with practically an MCL, ACL sprain. And the Real Madrid medical staff has said, oh, it's just a soreness. It's just a little bit of fatigue. And no, he's been playing with practically a partial tear. And that's crazy. He had to leave Real Madrid, leave Spain to go to France to just get that checked out. Same thing with Bellingham. He left Madrid to go to England to get it checked out. Why? The players are starting not even to trust the medical staff for Real Madrid. That club is falling apart, bro. And as a Barca fan, this is the most beautiful era to watch Real Madrid on. Because they got the win today because Celta sucked. And not only Celta sucked. There is merit that I have to give to Real Madrid, especially their defense, to give them the reason why they won today. But that's going to cover up nothing when it comes to Pep Guardiola's City, a Manchester City that is not the same city as last season. It's a city that has found themselves with a brand new core, new players, hunger from all sides. And I think now is the best time for City to get that revenge from last season. Remember that last season, I think Mbappe scored a hat trick and eliminated them. And this year, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't know if Mbappe will even play. If he has a partial tear or even a sprain of the knee, it's going to be tough for him to play. Bellingham might not play. So many players are missing on this squad. Let me see if I can take a look right here really quick. Look at this list, bro. Rodrigo tore his ACL. That's another one we didn't talk about. Rodrigo will miss not only the rest of the season, but he will miss the World Cup mid-December. He will miss the World Cup. That's huge for a player like that. Mbappe with a knee injury. His timeline is undecided. Jude Bellingham, mid-April, right? So, no, he's not going to be here for the Champions League. Franco is suspended only in La Liga. Foolish. I'll make a video about that in another time, talking about Franco and all that stuff. Dani with a thigh injury until April. It's not like they use him that much. They could, though. Militao is one of their biggest missing players mid-March. Okay, so he should be back supposedly mid-month, maybe for the second leg. Alaba mid-March, so he lost Alaba too. And Carreras with a muscle injury. Doubtful. That's crazy, bro. So, Dean Donny Howson. I didn't even know that was his name. Okay. Dean Donny Howson suspended, not for Champions League. So they'll have Howson and they'll have Mastantuono for the Champions League. Besides that, Lamini Fati, Jorge Sestero, Aguado, Mestre, 2 goalkeepers. Look at their bench today, bro. Oh, okay, over here too. Cesar Palacios, Gonzalo, a bunch of academy players. But it's crazy, man. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with... Well, I do know what's going on, but whatever. This is what I wanted to talk about today, though. How they lined up. Guler is the 9? Or was it false 9? Was he the 9? He was the winger. I don't know. I don't know what Arbeloa wanted today. But how are you not going to play Gonzalo Garcia? I don't get it, bro. I don't get it. A lot of people are saying that the players are putting pressure on Arbeloa, so he's playing them. I don't know. How do you explain this? Tchouaméni, baller. Let's talk about the players really quick. Courtois didn't have much to do today, to be honest. He did have some crucial saves, though. Trent, okay on offense, not okay on defense. But for the most part, I think in general, Real Madrid smothered anything that Celta tried to do. Besides that goal, they weren't able to play. So as far as midfield pressure and defensive unity, compactness, I think Real Madrid played a good game today. When it comes to attacking, they have 0 ideas and they have 0 creativity. I don't know what they did here with these 4 midfielders plus another wide midfielder plus a winger. It's not like Vinny played striker. It's not like Brahim played striker. It was just a weird lineup. I didn't understand it. I think with Gonzalo there, maybe they could have had a better game. He comes in at the end. Doesn't do much. But they give Valverde the goal. It's not an own goal. Okay. Borja was really bad today. I expected him to score more than 1 goal, and he could have. He didn't. But overall, man, just not a good game. Not a good game. But they get the win. They get the win out of 2 goals, outside the box goals. That is where Real Madrid had to look for their stuff because they couldn't through the wings. The wingers were getting locked up. Vinny got locked up. Brahim got locked up. They can't really play through the middle to a striker. There was no striker, and there was really no target player. So they opted for the only real other alternative that they have is shooting from outside the box. And with players like Tchouaméni and Valverde, it's a lot easier. A lot easier, but Real Madrid gets saves, and this is not going to cut it versus City. It's absolutely not going to cut it versus City. On top of that, you have all these injuries, no playing style. The locker room is broken. Supposedly, anytime somebody complains about something in the locker room, there's always players that get real defensive and get real sensitive. The locker room is messed up. Absolutely messed up. Arbeloa is not the adequate trainer that this team needs right now, and he's doing what he can with what he has, and he's trying to make everyone happy and satisfied and content. But at a certain point, bro, City's gonna trample this team. And if City does not trample this team, and if Real Madrid for some reason goes through, not only will it be a miracle, but honestly, we can honestly say that Manchester City are a bunch of choke artists, because this is the absolute worst Real Madrid team that I've ever seen. And it makes me happy to see it, but at the same time, as a football fan, I look at it and I'm like, wow. Take all the bias aside. Take all my Barca love aside, all my Madrid hatred aside. What is going on with this team? Like, there's so many problems in each line. No number 9. 3 left wingers. No right wingers that can play that any sort of quality football. And no number 9. Their midfield are a bunch of physical midfielders, none creative. Güler is their quote-unquote creative midfielder. So is Bellingham. I think Bellingham is a better 9 than Mbappe, and he's not a creative midfielder. And I think Güler is a creative midfielder for a middle-of-the-pack team, not for Real Madrid. And then you have a bunch of physical midfielders. Tchouaméni, Valverde, Camavinga. Who else? And you have players like that are just really not the quality. Like Dani Ceballos is not really the quality. And besides that, what do you have? Cestero, midfielder. Palacios, Angel. Just a bunch of academy guys. Pitarch, played today. So the midfield is already a mess. On the defense, you have an academy player that sometimes has good games and sometimes has disastrous games. You have Rudiger that is playing on half a leg. You have Trent that can't defend worth anything. He's probably a better creative midfielder than any of these, but he doesn't have a good touch of the ball or a good, positional play and just like the type of touch that you have to play in a middle role where you're constantly surrounded by opposing players. So Trent is creative, but on his wing, end of list. Mendy's back. I think Mendy had a really good game today. He looked really good, but Mendy plays one game out of 25. So, can we count on Mendy? Besides that, Housen was suspended, but either way, what Housen was in his first 5 games of the season disappeared. He is a player with zero confidence, with not a lot of physicality, and just not good enough. Who else do they got? Lamine Fati's a defender. I don't know if he's a wing defender or a center back defender. Aguado, I think, is a center back academy guy. Dani Carvajal also ready to retire, ready to get out of here. Fran Garcia is not Real Madrid quality. Carreras is the best player they got off of the transfer market. Alaba also on his way out. Eder is always injured. And bro, so you have a problem in each line of the game. If you look at it like this, or if you look at it like this, it's a problem. Every single position is a problem. And then Courtois is the only one that really gets out of here with any sort of confidence. Okay, at least we have a goalkeeper. I like Tchouaméni. I think for what Tchouaméni needs to be, that's center defensive mid, he's amazing. Today he had the goal, but defensively he's amazing. I think Tchouaméni is a keeper. And then Vinny on his good days, but Vinny has too many bad days for him to be undisputed. He has great good days. When he's on a good day, he's top 5, top 3, maybe top 1 best winger in the world. But on his bad days, which he has too many of, you start realizing, dude, this is not a consistent player for a Real Madrid squad. And that's the end of the list. I was doing a little exercise the other day where I said, how many of these Real Madrid players would be a starter on a top 5 team? So top 5 team is Bayern Munich, PSG. I don't want to include Barca. Just for the sake of the argument, I won't include them. PSG, Bayern, Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool. Let's just say those 5 teams are the top 5 teams in the world. To not include Barca, because I think I would put Barca there instead of Liverpool, but we don't have to, okay? How many of these players would start? Trent was a starter in Liverpool, and he left. But besides that, would Trent start over Hakimi? No. Would he start over... Trent maybe might start in City, but he's not good enough on defense. Maybe he won't. Maybe Pep won't trust Trent like that. I think Trent is creative enough. Maybe he might start in City. Okay. So Trent has starting position in half those teams maybe. Would he start over... I don't know who Bayern has on the right back. It's a bad example, but I don't know if he would start in Bayern. Asensio, would he start in any of his teams? Absolutely not. Rudiger, would he start over John Stones or whoever they're playing right now? Ruben Diaz... Guardiola is injured, but would he start over them? Maybe not. Would he start over Van Dijk? No. Would he start over, at his age right now, in his form, his current form, would he start over Upamecano? Probably not. Probably not. Mendy hasn't played in forever. I don't know if he would start anywhere because of his injuries. He played well today, and when he does play, he's very good. But then he's not always there. Valverde. This is a perfect example. Look at their midfield. Tchouaméni might have a spot in any of those teams, I think. As a CDM, for sure. But Valverde. Will Valverde start over Vitinha? No. Would he start over Rodri? No. Would he start over Bernardo Silva? No. Would he start over... maybe he might have a start in Bayern, possibly. But very few teams will need a player. Would he start over McAllister? I don't think so. Maybe not in a central mid position. Maybe as a winger, yes. I like Valverde as a winger more than a center back. And if you saw any of my old videos, in my previous videos, Valverde won Champions League playing as a winger, not as a center mid. When it was Modric, Casemiro, Cruz, Valverde was a winger. And that's where he got the best version of himself, not in the middle. Would Brahim Diaz start over Savinho? Or who does City have on this side? I can't think of it right now. Would he start over Olise? No. He wouldn't start over Lamine Yamal either. We're not mentioning them though. Brahim Diaz doesn't start in any top 5 teams. Will Güler start over any of the midfielders I mentioned for Valverde? No, he would not. Absolutely not. He wouldn't start over Musiala. He wouldn't start over Fermin. He wouldn't start over McAllister. He wouldn't start over anyone, dude. Anyone. Vinny is the only player that would start over a lot of the players that play in his position. But even then, with his inconsistency in form, with his antics on and off the field, mostly on the field, his antics, his little, what he tries to make mind games, it becomes a nuisance for teammates. It becomes a nuisance for a coach. It becomes a nuisance for the locker room. Do you think Barca would rather have Vinny than Rafinha? With what Rafinha represents as a captain, as a leader, as a person in the locker room, as an example. Maybe Vinny is better than Rafinha. I'm not saying he's not. Absolutely, I think Vinny is better than Rafinha. But would Barca, that locker room, rather have Vinny than Rafinha right now? No. Absolutely not. Semenyo or Doku, he might be better than them. But do they want that? I don't think so, bro. I don't think so. So it's just a shame. Mbappe obviously will start in any team. Bellingham, let's do the same example. Would Bellingham start over Musiala? Would Bellingham start over Bernardo Silva? Would he start over Vitinha? Would he start over McAllister? I don't know. When he's in good form, great, yes. But with him, I don't want to play center mid. I want to play striker. I want to be a false 9 again. He goes to any other team. He's like, dude, we put you where we need you. And only in Real Madrid you get to choose your position. This team is destroyed. This team is destroyed from the inside out, from the top to the bottom. The fans, there's even division between the fans. There's fans that say, oh, we won, all is good, everything back in order. And there's fans that watched the Champions League final versus Dortmund, that run, and they're like, this team is terrible. I don't know how we won this tournament. And I loved Real Madrid in 2022. I think they deserve that. Even though they had to come back, even though in games, in certain moments of the game, they weren't the best team, I think overall They were the type of team that resolved things, and I love that team. 2024 Champions League, Real Madrid. I don't know how they win that Champions League. I don't know how. Dortmund shouldn't have been there. Who did Dortmund eliminate? I think they might have eliminated PSG or something. I don't remember. But Real Madrid should not have. Real Madrid also, I think they had that controversial semifinal with Bayern. So be careful with that. But everything is cooked in the Real Madrid world. From the president to the players to the coaches to the fans to the medical staff to every single thing. The personalities, the skill, the personnel, the decisions, transfer decisions. Franco Mastantuono cost $60 million or euros. $60 million for an unproven 18-year-old prospect that played a handful of games in the first division of Argentina. Purely marketing sold Franco Mastantuono to Real Madrid for 60 million euros. Pure marketing. This team is cooked. Absolutely cooked. And just, you're talking about an overhaul of 15, 20 players, bro, to fix this. Like, Asensio shouldn't start. Trent, you got him already. Whatever. Rudiger is done. Mendy's always injured. Done. Tchouaméni, you keep him. Valverde, you keep him. Sure, whatever. Pitares is not a starter. Vinny, what do you do with Vinny? Vinny is a very, very interesting case because you, in one hand, you have one of the best players in the world, and on the other hand, you have a locker room nightmare. In Güler, you have a player that is not ready for whatever he's supposed to be. Brahim is not a quality player. You get rid of Brahim. Academy players. Academy players. Out. Academy players. Out. Academy players. That's crazy. Dean, you got him in the backup. Him, he's good. I'll keep him. Out. Always injured. Sorry. You're one of the greatest center backs of this generation, but you're always injured. Sorry. Out. Donnie, out. Jude, you keep. You build the team, I guess, around Jude. Franco, loan him out. Kylian, he stays. And Rodrigo, you could sell him. You could sell him because he doesn't have a spot on this team. And now you're talking about having maybe 6 players on your squad. And Courtois, you keep him. You know, like 6 solid, keepable players. And one of them is Incognito. So what do you do, bro? This team is cooked, and they go against City this week. They're cooked. Cooked. Leave your opinions in the comments, like the video, and subscribe. And I'll catch you on the next one, which is going to be tomorrow, probably talking about Barça, Atleti, and a few other things, guys. I'm going to be working on, maybe, and this is a maybe because I'm still working on the logistics, but fantasy football, like fantasy soccer football, EPL fantasy, where FC 26 career mode videos or whatever, and a Spanish channel. So stay tuned for that, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.